evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, February 1, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. GECOM preparing roadmap for hosting of local government elections this year. Corruption claims debunked as MUSTAPHA, RAMJATTAN, SPAR over AGRI sector. CGX strikes oil in Kawa 1 well offshore Guyana. Illegal Venezuelan aircraft found in Guyana, and fire at GNSC WHARF determined to be arson, says fire chief. Now for the news in detail. Local government elections, which were scheduled for last year, are on track to being hosted in 2022, as the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, is preparing a roadmap towards achieving this. And at least one commissioner is confident that all the systems would be put in place to host these important polls before 2023. Amar Prasad has our lead story tonight.
Government-nominated Commissioner Says Kunraj, during Monday's edition of the social media program GlobeSpan, expressed confidence that the GECOM will host the local government elections this year.
All things being equal, yes.
What does that mean, Commissioner?
There are certain processes which have to be conducted and concluded as precursors to the holding of the elections. One of the first processes is a registration exercise to ensure that the list is refreshed. And to ensure once that list is refreshed, there are certain functions which stem from that, which of course will result in the holding of elections. It is my view that we are well poised to ensure that those processes are concluded, and once concluded, local government elections can be held.
Furthermore, he noted that the 7-member Elections Commission has since asked newly elected Chief Elections Officer Vishnu Prasad to prepare a roadmap towards the hosting of these polls.
We have asked at our last meeting the Chief Elections Officer to prepare basically a roadmap of which includes time and tasks to from where we are currently to the holding of local government elections and beyond. So it is our hope that once we get that done, we will start acting on that, and it is my personal hope that we can start acting on that with alacrity.
In December 2021, GECOM's chairperson, Claudette Singh, wrote Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandalal to confirm that the electoral body will be unable to hold local government elections that year. She had explained that since the Commission was currently without a Chief Elections Officer, who is required by law to manage the conduct of elections in Guyana, the GECOM was unable to have the elections at that point in time. After a rigorous process, however, GECOM has since hired Prasad as the new CEO. GECOM still has to fill the posts of Deputy CEO and other senior management staff. These senior posts within GECOM became vacant after former CEO Keith Lowenfield, his deputy Roxanne Myers, and former returning officer Clement Mingo were fired for attempts to sway the results of the 2020 general and regional elections. They are currently before the courts facing electoral fraud charges. LGE are constitutionally due to every 2 years in Guyana and were last held in 2018. However, given the elections fiasco that played out following the 2020 general and regional elections, the local government polls were deferred to 2021. At the last LGE in November 2018, the then PPPC opposition secured 52 of the 80 local authority areas. This followed the holding of the LGE in 2016, during which PPPC also claims the majority of the LAAs. For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
Day 2 of the budget debate saw heated exchange over the government's management of the agriculture sector between Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa and Comrade RAMJATTAN, the opposition member of parliament shadowing his sector. Gerald Bryan reports.
One of the focal points of Shadow Agriculture Minister Comrade RAMJATTAN's presentation was claims of corruption during the flood relief initiative executed by the Agriculture Ministry. The opposition has claimed that flood relief checks were given to PPPC friends and family, but Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa rejected these allegations, noting that the monies benefited hundreds across the country. In fact, he read out to the National Assembly letters of appreciation for the assistance provided from the opposition's own constituencies.
We have here a letter from the Victoria community. And hear what they said. I want to read it for your understanding, to know that we have friends and we have supporters in every corner. Every corner in this country, Mr. Speaker. Hear what they say. They wrote, hear what they wrote. I will read. Dear Minister MUSTAPHA, appreciation for assistance. Victoria Community Development Council, in collaboration with the Victoria Northbrook Farmers Group, would like to formally thank you and extend to the Ministry of Agriculture and the Government of Guyana for the assistance we received during the flood. These are our friends, farmers in these areas. Again, I have here, dear Mr. MUSTAPHA, listen, dear Mr. MUSTAPHA, we the farmers of Ithaca community and the Ithaca Cooperative Society would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the President, Dr. Irfan Ali, and the Minister of Agriculture for the timely intervention with the cash grant. The village, listen again, the village of Seafield and member of the Rainbow Generation Farmers Group suffered greatly during the recent flood. We lost our crop and animal. We were relieved to hear the President say the government would give us the flood relief cash grant. We collected ours during the Region 5 distribution, and it has helped us so much to go back to the field and start back our farming. This is the Seafield. We have friends in Seafield.
Nonetheless, RAMJATTAN, among other things, called for the publishing of the names and amounts received of all those who received flood relief.
Why do you not put on the website of the Ministry of Agriculture all those people who got the flood relief, and put a name and put an address and put the amounts that they got? The same thing with the cash grant. Why can't you publish the names of how many people got the cash grant? Because there is obviously what is called paperwork that would have ensured that checks were paid or cash was paid. But you don't want to do that.
Meanwhile, in the face of criticisms, the Agriculture Minister also defended the government's efforts to reopen closed sugar estates and the allocation of $6 billion to GECOM for 2022.
Mr. Speaker, the destruction that took place under the APNU-AFC government, they feel that we get a magic wand. We go touch the estate and say, open the estate, open. You know, that's the man. Open the estate. Let me tell you what. One estate. I want to give example for one estate. Rosal Estate, when we went there, what we reached? We reached an abundant cultivation overgrown with bushes and had an abundance of old cane abundance since 2017 and were of no value. That means we have to do retilling. We have to do replanting. And we have to ensure that we have time to have enough cultivation so that we can have cane and sugar to be produced at that estate. And we are in the process of doing that.
Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
In line with the policies and measures being implemented under the Dr. Irfan Ali-led PPP administration, Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Office for Investment, Dr. Peter Ramsarup, believes the industries of agriculture and manufacturing will see major investments this year. Shane Marks has the details.
During a recent interview with state media, CEO of Go Invest Dr. Peter Ramsarup spoke about the country's promising investment climate, noting that the agricultural sector is a major area of interest for the private sector.
Agriculture is another big sector that is starting to open up. Why is that being opened up? Because the president has outlined that expansion of the road networks, so you now have access to new land. As you saw in 2021, the consortium that was put together on the soybean and corn. Why do we need large-scale mega farms? The fact is we produce chicken. We need the stock feed. We can produce millions of more pounds of chicken, but we have to grow more corn and soybean. So it's tying those two industries. So if you study the poultry industry, you study the agriculture industry, you match those two together. Other mega farms that will come up. We saw the launching of a milk plant in Berbice that will take current milk and pasteurize it and make other value-added products. That's already started construction. Ultimately, you're going to see large mega-scale dairy farms, which, with the cows that could produce more milk. We import $30+ million worth of milk every year in those boxes, foods, moves, whatever it's called, from Australia. Why are we doing that? So as investors look at the opportunities around Guyana, you look and says, okay, if I can produce a mega farm with dairy cows and I can produce my milk, I can pasteurize it, I can sell it in the supermarket, and I have a captured market right here in Guyana, why not? Then you spread your wings to CARICOM and other parts of the world. So those are the type of targeted investment opportunities we are paying attention to in 2022.
He noted too that with the expansion of country's road network, including the construction of new farm-to-market roads, the agricultural sector is destined to flourish as more lands become available. President Dr. Afrin Ali has expressed time and again that Guyana can become the agricultural heartland of the Caribbean community, as it is looking to play its part in helping the Caribbean community to reduce its food import bill by 25% by 2025. Another sector Ramsrup noted that will boost the investment climate in Guyana is the manufacturing sector, particularly agro-processing.
What if I can can all my bora? What if I can can all the pineapple? Now I have a better export market, both local and export markets. So the agro-processing industry will continue to explode. We signed a MOU in 2021 that will be executed in 2022 for a large agro-processing facility in Enmore.
For the evening news, Shane Marks.
CGX Energy Incorporated and its joint venture partner, Frontiera Energy Corporation, have announced an oil find in the Kawa-1 well in the Quarantine block, bringing an end to an over 2 decades' wait for the company's maiden discovery of oil in commercial quantities. Luana McAllister tells us more.
The Kawa-1 well was drilled to a depth of 21,578 feet and encountered some 177 feet of oil-bearing reservoirs in the well during an initial evaluation. Therefore, the hydrocarbon-bearing sands that were encountered, which the companies CGX Energy and Frontiera Energy said will be analyzed and possibly form the targets of future exploration. Information on final well cost estimates and additional results will be announced upon completion of end-of-well activities projected for February 2022. Meanwhile, the company said that in the wake of its success at the Kawa-1 well, a second well called the We-1 will be spotted in the northwestern part of the Quarantine block in the second half of the year. Executive co-chairman of CGX's board of directors, Professor Suresh Narayan, said the results from the Kawa-1 well represents a positive milestone in the CGX journey as a pioneer oil and gas explorer in the Guyana Basin. Back in May 2019, the Guyana government had approved a strategic joint venture between CGX Energy Inc. and Frontiera Energy Corporation to farm into 2 shallow water offshore petroleum prospecting licenses for the Quarantine and Demerara blocks. The Quarantine and the Demerara block are adjacent to ExxonMobil's Stabroek block, where multiple discoveries have been made. CGX and Frontiera Energy had previously commissioned an independent report which had revealed that they are potentially sitting on 4.9 million barrels of oil equivalent in the Demerara and Quarantine blocks under their control. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
The Ministry of Home Affairs, the Guyana Police Force, and the Air Corps of Guyana Defense Force are investigating the circumstances surrounding the discovery of an abandoned aircraft at Kurunduni, located in the Essequibo, some 20 kilometers from the Curupukari crossing in Region 8. Authorities say the aircraft bearing Venezuelan registration, YV506, is an illegal one. The discovery was made on Saturday last by ranks of the Mabura police station. It was explained that the plane, a Cessna 310, was found in the bushes, covered with branches and tarpaulin. The propeller was removed and placed under the aircraft. A search was conducted in and around the aircraft, but no illegal substance was found in either the cabin or cargo space, and nothing was found in the immediate vicinity. According to a preliminary assessment by the lead engineer, the aircraft has been damaged extensively and is beyond repair. However, a further assessment will be conducted by the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority. Fire Chief Acting Gregory Wickham says it is alarming that another fire has been maliciously set to yet another major shipping complex in Georgetown. Within the space of 2 weeks, fires have erupted at two of the country's major shipping facilities located on Lombard Street, Georgetown. On Sunday, January 30, at around 8 hours, a fire erupted at the Guyana National Shipping Corporation's workshop, an aged wooden building referred to as the gear room, which was being used to store gears and parts for ships. Quick response from the Guyana Fire Service resulted in the blaze being contained to an area, and as such, that corporation suffered minimal losses. 2 weeks prior, on January 16, a fire erupted just before midnight at a bond at the Guyana National Industrial Company Incorporated, GNSC, destroying millions of dollars' worth of items, including vehicles. The GFS has already determined that that fire was an act of arson, but it is a finding that does not sit well with the company's management. In the case of the most recent inferno at the GNSC, the GFS has also determined that that fire was maliciously set by a person or persons unknown. Asked whether the two fires are related, the fire chief acting said that he would not be able to discuss this matter with the press. He had previously told this newscast that authorities would likely investigate any possible linkages between the two infernos, given the coincidence of the blazes. Though it has been more than a week since the GFS determined that the fire at the GNSC WHARF was maliciously set, there are no reports of anyone being arrested in relation to that crime. Coming up, 3 more COVID deaths, 220 new cases, and 71 illegal firearms taken off the streets last year, says police. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanups, or construction sites. It's simple. Step 1, just pick up the phone and give us a call. Step 2, we deliver the skip bin size of your choice. Step 3, load the skip with all of your junk. And finally, Step 4, we take it all away. It's that simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there's no job that's too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218.
Combo pack of we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, is the best mix, so we feeling best. Best value to how you feeling. Ole cheesy, so much ripples and more. Combo pack of flavors galore, yeah. Combo pack of we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, is the best mix, so we feeling best.
Sunshine Snacks Combo Pack, now with a new look and new mix. Grab your pack today.
Best mix, so we feeling.
Miners, welders, and contractors. Have broken parts caused you tremendous downtime? Do you need an extra heavy-duty, dependable welding machine that will get the toughest jobs done and can also double as a generator to power all of your tools? Well, your #1 industrial solutions provider Sylvie's has you covered. We currently have in stock the Hobart Champion Elite Arc Welder and Generator. This capable electric start generator produces up to 11,000 watts of AC power to run tools, work lights, or backup power during an outage. It can simultaneously deliver 150 amps weld output and 8,000 watts of generator power and can run up to 14 hours on one 12-gallon tank of gas. This portable generator handles mild steel, stainless steel, and cast iron with a maximum thickness of ½ inch in a single pass. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvie's Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
I am his and he is mine. In the end, it's him and I, him and I.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. 3 more persons who were infected with the novel coronavirus have died, taking the country's death toll to 1,171. The latest fatalities are a 30-year-old woman who was unvaccinated, an 83-year-old woman who was also unvaccinated, and a 76-year-old man whose vaccination status is unknown. The victims hailed from regions 4, 7, and 10, respectively. Meanwhile, the country also saw 220 new cases detected in the last 24 hours, taking the total positives recorded to date to 60,109. There are 13 persons in the ICU, 184 in institutional isolation, 9,446 in home isolation, and 16 in institutional quarantine. Recoveries stand at 49,294. Weeks after recording a surge in daily COVID-19 infections locally, positive cases are finally on the decline, according to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. More in this report.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony shared in the COVID-19 update yesterday that the new Omicron variant gave rise to a significant number of positives in the country over a short period of time due to its contagious nature. From the beginning of January, the positives started rising and had peaked to over 1,000 infections in one day. Throughout the month, over 20,000 infections were reported, thereby taking the active cases at one point to over 13,000. As of Monday, just 86 new cases surfaced from 631 tests.
With Omicron, we have seen a number of cases because it's more contagious. And as I've said, right now we have 11,610 active cases. Over the last 24 hours, we would have recorded 119 new cases. This number came down from what it was a couple of days ago. And what we have noticed is that there have been a downward trend over the last 2 weeks or so. So our positivity rate has been falling. That means the amount of tests that is being done and the amount of persons coming back positive, that has been falling. So it shows that we are getting less cases.
In Guyana, almost 60,000 cases have been reported since the first case back in March 2020. Just over 47,000 patients have since recovered. Speaking on the country's recovery rate, Minister Anthony said a significant percentage of persons make a full rebound from the infection, while under 2% have been hospitalized.
Of those persons who have been infected, just about 1.6% of them would be in the hospital, and of those in the hospital, most of them would recover. Also, since a lot of the persons are not coming into the hospital, after about 7 days or so, after about 7 days after they would have tested positive, they can go back to work.
Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
In 2021, the Guyana Police Force removed 71 illegal firearms off the streets of Guyana. Those comprised 36 pistols, 18 revolvers, and 17 shotguns. 10 were found by ranks during anti-crime operations, while 61 were seized from individuals. Amar Prasad tells us more.
71 illegal weapons were found in all regions of the country except Region 9, Upper Taketu, Essequibo, with the majority, 28, found in Region 4, Demerara, Mahaica. Third in command of Regional Division 4A, Superintendent John Barker, during a recent program hosted by the police force, spoke about the importance of removing these firearms off the street.
Firearm is a dangerous weapon. And just the presence of firearm, not even seeing it, the presence or the knowledge of firearm on the street, it creates fear upon individuals. And so the society becomes uncomfortable. So each firearm that we take out of the street, reference to our operations, we would think that would ensure that the security is a bit safer. So no matter how big the firearm is, whether it be a rifle or a shotgun or a small arm, such as a 9mm pistol or .38, any firearm is dangerous and they could be equally as dangerous no matter the size of the firearm. So with the firearms off the street, the society, by large Regional Division 4A, is in a much safer place.
When these illegal firearms are taken off the streets, the senior official assured that they are properly secured.
As it relates to the procedure when those firearms are taken off the street, we would normally take them to our station, lodge, and prepare the matters to court. And so those firearms that are seized will be taken into custody and put in a secure place until the duration of those matters.
In November 2021, President Dr. Irfan Ali had announced that Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandalal has been tasked with working on an amendment to the country's laws to ensure that there is a higher penalty in place for persons who unlawfully possession of firearms. The head of state had also noted that the said government will grant a period of amnesty for persons in possession of illegal firearms to turn them over. But when this period expires and the amended laws come into play, President Ali warned that those individuals will face stiffer penalties. For the evening news, Omar Prasad.
Public Works Minister Juan Ejil has asked residents of Blackbush Polder in Region 6 to focus on the bigger picture of government's National Development Agency and not just at potholes in their community streets. He says the time is coming when the man from Blackbush Polder can pack his truck with vegetables and drive all the way to northern Brazil or all the way to Paramaribo in Suriname. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports.
While I know you would like Blackbush Polder everywhere to be fixed, and I want to say it without any hesitation, we want the same thing like you as a government. We're going to do our utmost, make every sacrifice, create the fiscal space to ensure that we get that done. But there are also bigger things that we have to look at. Because when you get out to from Blackbush Polder to the Quarantine Highway, you also got to move the products that you bring out from Blackbush to a shipping port, or you also got to move it to the market. And one of the things 2022 budget addresses, is getting the Quarantine Highway from Palmyra all the way up to Molson Creek upgraded.
That was Minister Juan Ejil during a recent outreach to the Blackbush Polder in Region 6. He says government will be expanding the Quarantine Highway. As the entire thoroughfare will be expanded, work will commence this year with the removal of utilities in order to make the road wider. With the Quarantine River Bridge on the table and the Deepwater Harbor at Palmyra, he says there will be huge container trucks traversing frequently along the highway.
So we got to lift the capacity of the highway to facilitate the evolving economic and commercial activities that are coming to Guyana. So we got to continue to do the development in the communities by fixing the community roads. We got to do the main access roads. We got to do the farm to market access roads, but we also have to do the superhighways to be able to ensure that the networking arrangement and the moving of goods, services, and people are facilitated. With a Deepwater Harbor that should be built at the mouth of the Berbice River, we are fixing the road to move things from the Deepwater Harbor all the way into northern Brazil. So we got to get the road from Linden to Letem fixed.
He also said arrangements are being made to ensure the Caribbean Development Bank is satisfied with the proposal for funding of the Letem to Mabura Road. Approximately 121 kilometers of gravel road extending from Linden to Mabura Hill will be upgraded to an asphaltic concrete road. The work will improve connectivity between Guyana's hinterland and the coastal regions. The Curupacari River is going to be bridged, and the 33 bridges between Curupacari and Letem are to be upgraded, Minister Ejil pointed out.
Budget 2022 takes care of fixing all of the bridges between Curupacari and Letem as a first stage. So we put in an asphaltic concrete road to Mabura Hill, and we start doing the bridges from Curupacari to Letem. So the next phase is to pave that section all the way into Letem.
During the meeting with residents at Marie Curie, residents complained that only some sections of the road network were addressed in 2021 and many of the streets in their area need repair.
We are doing roads also to ensure that we could get community access, that the people who live in the street, because I know you're going to tell me, when me don't come with me big fancy car, from the big highway we're building at the quarantine there, and me reaching from the fancy Black Bush Road for going me street, I'm going to block off the fender because the road bad. We understand that. 2022 budget also makes provisions to do some of them other community streets, so not just the main road, but some of the other roads inside.
For Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
President Dr. Irfan Ali on Monday presented the presidential awards to two top graduates of the University of Guyana's class of 2020-2021. Find out more in this report.
Both Devendra Kissoon and Tameshwar Mohabir from the Turkine and Tain campuses respectively finished with GPAs of 4.0. 27-year-old Kissoon finished as the valedictorian after successfully completing a Bachelor of Science degree, Civil with Environmental Engineering, while 30-year-old Mohabir finished as the best graduating student from Tain after completing his Bachelor of Education degree, Mathematics concentration program. President Irfan Ali on Monday conferred the President's Medal to the two graduates at the Office of the President on Shiv Chandra Paul Drive. The President said he was pleased to confer each of the graduates with the President's Medal in recognition of their superlative performance in their respective programs.
You are also special in a different way. You would have benefited from a PSM scholarship, and it is important that you would have set this example as someone who would have benefited from a scholarship. That you did not take the scholarship for granted, but you aspired to be the best you could have been. And I'm proud of you as someone who would have received a PSM scholarship. Coming from the community of Barbies, and as a teacher, you have one of the most influential roles in mentoring and bringing up a whole new generation. And this is perhaps one of the best ways in which you can demonstrate to them what academic excellence means.
With regard to their chosen areas of study, President Ali noted that their aspirations are in keeping with the development trajectory of the country.
I want you also today to reflect on the many sacrifices your families would have made, the many people who would have positively impacted your life, the many persons who have supported you, and the community from which you came. And this should inspire you to be greater examples, not only to your families and to those who supported you, but more importantly to the communities you come from. I hope that you use your life as an inspiration for those who you can influence, and everyone who come in your presence and who come across you would benefit from your wisdom, would understand the fruits of hard work, and would appreciate what sacrifices and commitment can do.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, February 2nd at 4 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, Suburbies River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, February 2nd at 5 hours 15 for a period of 1.5 hours.
West Indies Under-19 closed World Cup campaign with 8-wicket victory over Zimbabwe, and Prashad Mangra win LGC in-house tournament. Details of these stories in the Sportcast sponsored by WHARF, coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rijnveld.
Get the right seal right now from Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc., your immediate SKF sealing solutions. The SKF Seal Jet Machine is capable of building seals from 5mm to 600mm in diameter in under 5 minutes. With technical support readily available, you can get a customized seal to suit virtually any industrial application, like buffer, rod, wiper, and piston seals. SKF Seal Jet Machine, now at Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc.